The third and last block of our fields of innovation is dealing with big data analytics and security, meaning that we have another 3 speakers who will take us on this very visionary journey into the future of modern industry. The beginning is done by Mr. Markus Lang, Technical Sales Manager for the Asia Pacific area at Copper Data. Welcome, Mr. Lang.
Thank you very much for being here today. I would like to start with a question. What does it mean to be connected and secured nowadays? It's a big question because all the synonyms are spreading around nowadays, and we really would like to get started with the basic of it. So we said that there are 6 steps to the connected factory nowadays, and there are several steps which connects with each other. And you can see that even if you have a lot of data available today, it's important to know what the data means. So you need to have the data for the connectivity of the people. You need to have the connectivity of the machines. You really need to communicate, and that's all what matters nowadays. All connected factory means communication as its best. And if you want to communicate, you need a proper system, a solid foundation which lays in the software. Nowadays, if you look at the industries itself, there are food and beverage industries, pharma industries, automotive industries, energy, and even cross industries. So industries which doesn't connect to the other industries. All in all, the industries have something in common. They can be automized. And if you have a look at the food and beverage section, you can see that there are so many applications, so many use cases. And usually, if you're in a factory, you just don't start with the automation of the complete factory. You start with one part of the factory, let's say a line management system in the food and beverage industry. And then the customer will get to know where to develop the future itself. So if you start with one part of the facility, of the production facility, then you go step by step to the other parts. And if you have all the parts together, then there's also a possibility to even store the data, analyze it, and make use of the historian. What's important is that even if you're in food and beverage or somewhere else, there are similarities in every industries. And as an example, in pharma industry, for the batch and control, it's the quality which makes the most sense of all. As we are living in a very high, sophisticated society nowadays. What's important, if you're talking about automation, it's the people behind. It's always about people connecting with each other. What are the needs of the people? What is the interest of the people? What is the interest of a line manager, the operator, or the manager itself? Everyone has a different target or key factors which they have to think about. And even the machines itself, they have a possibility to think about how to increase the valuable production time. If you look at this slide, you can see the theoretical production time is quite big. And then you reduce it a little by little until you get to the valuable production time. And this is very crucial because nowadays we're living in a very competitive market, and it's important to think about how to make the overall process more effective. So, as we are also talking about security today, one option of the Xenon Service Grid is to act as a gateway for secure data access. But what does it mean and which benefits results out of it? Service Grid contributes to the basic security challenges and benefits, especially for assets owners, in 2 key ways. First of all is to make sensitive production data accessible from the outside. Important during COVID time, let's say for the teleworking, is the security data management, as it includes authentication, encryption, and secure data transmission. Yeah. And all in all, I also want to highlight something which is very important. If you look at this line management system as an example, where you see the filling, the washing of the bottles, even the packaging, there's one thing which is crucial to all of the processes. It's to make the life easier. And this is also what our CEO, Mr. Thomas Bunzenberger, is always promising or keeping to the customers. Even it's important to make the life easier in every single way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lang. You already mentioned that speed matters. This is the true soul of this format. So you brought it to the point within 5 minutes, but there is still some questions that came up to me. For example, what is the key in automation? If we're talking about big data and automation, where is the connection? What is the key factor in it?
The key factor, I would say, it's to think about it in a holistic way. The holistic way keeps in a thinking of the people, of the machines, about the whole industry itself, where to head towards to other areas or improvements. So it's always important to have a holistic view in all of the matters.
So the big fear that big data and machines and all of that is just stealing our real life is not so fearable if we say we look at it in a whole picture. So the human being is not outsourced by the usage of things, it just makes life easier.
Exactly. I got once a very nice quote from a customer. He said, we want to make people to have a valuable work, not making work which a robot can also do. So to making the life easier, but in a valuable way. And that's what counts.
I hope we don't use big data to replace hosts and artificial intelligence, because I love what I do and I would miss the time. So another serious question, where's the service grid being used when we talk about the grid connections?
It can be applied in all types of industries, where automation processes matters in a production facility or a power plant or any other facility to ensure a stable and secure data exchange. So it's very important for the exchange itself, what I said before, the communication matters. That's the crucial point.
I thank you very much. Communication is also our crucial point. We are communicating right now with the entire world, and everybody, I think thousands of people, have now seen what you and your company is capable of doing. Thank you very much, Mr. Lang.
Thank you very much.
Now, I'm looking very forward to welcome Mr. Alexandre Colon. He's the head of marketing and sales of DataSpot, a company based in Upper Austria, specialized on the clever usage of metadata. How does that work, Mr. Colon? Please, your stage.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerici. So how does this work? This is a good question. As you already mentioned, we have got client centers in Linz and Vienna, but also in Zurich. So data is the representation of your business. And when we face our customers, quite often we challenge one really crucial point, that our customers, they do not realize the value of the data. So when we come from DataSpot, we help our customers to depict the digital twin of their business. And we enable the organization to face digital transformation, and this not out of an IT view, but out of a business view. So the challenge when we meet customers is time to market is too long. So what to do when the time to market is too long? How can we need to go on the market right now, so we have no time for thinking about data, but we need to bring out our new digitalization product, our new industry ideas. So we need to be really very fast, and we have no time for any company to look at our data. The second challenge which we meet is the costs for data work are far too high. So quite often in companies, they think if they have to rethink all the data and have a look at the data, it will cost them a tremendous lot of money, which is not the case. And the second or the third point is that data are not usable. So quite often data and data sheets are redone and redone and redone. And as we heard already about the industry of tomorrow and the future, what is going to happen in the next industries, everyone thinks about digitalization, Industry 4.0, about sensors, about condition monitoring systems, but nobody really thinks about the data behind. And data needs more attention. You will never be able to do good digital transformation if you don't consider your data. So who needs which data and pursues which goals? There's the CEO, the CFO. He wants to know everything about his company, so he needs information. The business owner, he wants to know everything about his business, so he needs data. And the data professional, he wants to know everything about his data, so he needs metadata. And that's the crucial point, the metadata. If you have a look at the business life cycle, where is the metadata produced? It's produced in the business definition. So once you have defined how do you do your business and what is your business about, you start to think and you start to organize your metadata. And you need this business definition because otherwise you won't be able to do any business execution. I mean, you will be able, but it won't be really efficient. And to define the metrics, again, you need the business definition. You need, for the business steering, you need the business definition. You have to think what your metadata is. Once you have defined this, everything is clear. So, just to give a short insight, how is business depicted in data? It's depicted, the data domains are depicted in the business functions. Core data, they come in the business processes. The reference data, they are expressed in the business rules, and the metrics, they come out of the business steerings. So metadata are digital twins of your business. Metadata in that data spot, we have developed our own software, metadata software. So the data domains, there you find the collections in the business function. The core data you find in the business processes. The reference data is depicted in the business rules, and the metrics, they are depicted in the business steering. So once you have done this, it's easy to do any digitalization, any digital transformation, any Industry 4.0. So our Data Land Excellence use cases, we were founded in 2016, but we are already implemented in 22 big companies and organizations. One is, for instance, the city of Vienna. So we improve steering information. We do data immigration projects, data scientist enablement, defining and interpreting sensor data, standard for technical documentation, and many other more. So we would be happy if you contact us. We know that we can help you with your data problem. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Alexandre. Did I pronounce that correct?
Yes.
Alexandre,
perfect.
this is French.
No, it's Belgium, but it's French. Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
Let me ask you two more questions before you leave. Something that always comes along with big data or data in general is governance. It's the fear of people that data is misused. Why is it so important to have a good data governance?
Well, because exactly as you said, people fear it, but they have nothing to fear. In the moment there's a good data governance, you have nothing to fear. But the problem is that this data governance isn't existing. So you have to define the rule, you have to be very specific. This is not complicated, you have to take some time. In 1 hour, 2 hours, we can help you. And then it's easy, because everyone wants to have a good governance, not only for the data. Think of your car, think of your daily life. It's much easier once it is organized. And this is what data governance does, organizing, helping and creating transparency.
Is that more something that can be implicated by the industry, or is that also a political thing, that there is rules everybody has to stick to? Who is the one who defines, so to say, the philosophy of the governments we all implicate or we're all looking for?
Well, that's the business who defines it. That's the CEO, that's the business owner, they have to define it. And then, I mean, I would not say political, even though we work in the public sector. It's a very big issue for the industry because, as I said before, they are all doing huge amounts of great sensors, condition monitoring system with amazing, but they never think, they are missing the step out of thinking about the data. It's like when you construct a house. You do your house and you use a cement. And you use the daily, everyday cement. But for instance, you build your house, I mean, this is a fake, but you built it in the desert. So perhaps you need a special cement, or you do it next to the coast. And this, once you can build your house and everything works out, but there will be the point when you get problems. So better to think before about your data and how to govern it. And then you don't have problems, especially in times like COVID. And we hear so much about data governing, data coming together, data is put together, and to govern the data does not mean to rule about someone. It actually means to get freedom.
It's a matter of trust, like many things
Absolutely.
in human society. My last question would be, there is so many companies on the planet that do big data systems.
Yes.
What makes you different in comparison with your competitors? An Austrian-based companies, give us a last highlight why DataSpot is the spot to be.
Well, DataSpot is the spot to be because we look at data from the business perspective. All the others do it out of an IT perspective. I mean, they say they do it out of a business perspective, but really, of an IT business perspective, but they really have to have the focus out of the business. And that we have our own metadata software. What we want is, we do not want to govern our customers. We want them to enable to do it themselves. We want them that they don't need us. We give them the system. And this is, I think, really something where we differ from many others.
Business orientated. All the best, and thank you for coming in person.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clerici. It's been a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Mr. Alexandre Colon. And now, last but not least, we come to our last contribution to today's fields of innovations. The name of the company is somehow a tongue breaker, but we already met before, Mr. Winkler and I asked him, what came up to your mind when you were calling your company MRTPLM? And then he said, well, it's so special that you can remember it. Well, he's the CEO of MRTPLM, and he's going to tell us what the company does. Welcome, Mr. Winkler.
Yes. So first of all, let's define what we understand under PLM. So our company understands under PLM developing processes, data structures, and implementing them in so-called PLM systems, so that your product in the end comes from the idea, from the design, over the value chain into to the customer, and afterwards even maintained and serviced for the customer and at the customer site. So we do this now for 20 years, and we have well-known references in automotive, medical devices, machinery, and a lot of more. And what we have done from 2014 is that we have asked us which potentials can we take from the upcoming technologies which have been developed for Industry 4.0 purposes. And since the last 2.5 years, we did nothing other. So the main focus of our business was to make the PLM systems, the product lifecycle management, fit for digital transformation. So digital transformation is a big, complex challenge for the companies. And therefore, and when something is complex and big and is a challenge, then you have to make simple models that you first of all can communicate, second of all can do a design, and third of all you can implement it in the underlying systems. So what you see here on the slide is a team which is working in the product development process, and PLM applications where all the data is more or less good maturity. What we need for bringing the product in the end to the market. And then we have, let's say, this digital transformation world. And there, what we do is we take this information there and we make digital twins. So former we called it digital models. Now digital twin is the name. but we call it even digital team member, because we put the data and make more functionality on it. We make these digital twins communicating and even steering then the real process in the PLM system. I want to give you here a simple example. So everybody know, or most of the products what we are doing currently are designed in 3D engineering applications. And in 3D engineering applications, you can easily put points for measuring tolerances and all these things. So we take these points given by the engineer and make a digital twin called quality specification. And this quality specification can communicate to the measurement machine, or can communicate to the people doing the measuring and ask, oh, I am in quality or not. And this makes it easy, for instance, for the quality engineer to say, this part, what has been delivered by the customer, by my supplier, is this really in quality? But we can ask much more questions. So the product manager can ask, oh, I want to reduce the lead time of my development process. So what can I do to work better with my supplier together? The supplier himself can ask, oh, having this quality specification and knowing what is upcoming, how can I improve my process in the shop floor? And when we have more such questions, then big data comes into the account, because we have to connect this data. We have to build models to have, in the end, let's say, the right answers for the questions. So what we have done, first of all, we say, okay, to meet this challenge, the team doing this challenge is the key, and therefore we have developed a lot of tools, platforms that the team can become agile and enable their creativity, so that they can bring in, let's say, within the first 3 to 6 months, within the digital transformation journey, already some benefit to the company. Okay.
That's it?
That's it.
I did ask that's it because this was really brief. As I have a clock ticking over there. And as you see, you would have got 20 more seconds.
Yeah, I know.
So is the speciality, because I failed to ask some of the other presenters, is that a challenge to do such a presentation in such a short moment, or is it a relief because you have to focus on the main points and then zack, 5 minutes and it's done?
Yeah, as you know, we are in this topic, and this topic is really huge and complex. And the challenge is really to keep the sentence as you have it. And when 20 seconds are left, then it's okay. But never start then talking free, because then a huge bulge of information will come and will then be in the other.
Well, for talking free about the things, you've got me. In the moment I appear on stage, it's going to take a couple of more seconds or minutes. But there is a question that really interests me, because you were talking about the team, and I'm pretty sure that a team in a company, no matter with what kind of tools they are working digitally wise, is the most important key factor to every success. You need the team.
Yes.
But of course, talking about big data, there is a lot more aspects that are crucial to success. Let us talk a little bit about that. Apart from the team, using your technology, using your approach, what else is crucial?
The first thing is you have to ask the right questions. So, former, you come with a clear picture and a target frame, and you put the people there and you work. Now you have to have a clear target frame, but the picture can be flexible. Okay, it's a R&D what you are doing within the company, and of course our success is that we understand PLM processes since a long time, and therefore we can motivate the team to get another view on their data, and that they can really then start and grow within their topic. So it's first of all the team. And we bring the technique first. We enable them to learn the technique. And if we do big data models, more complicated algorithms, then we have a good connections to a lot of research companies, small research institutions, which do together with us the job with the company.
Is working with big data or data in general, Is it also somehow a creative process, or is it really something very abstract and mechanical, mathematical?
No. It's a really creative project because you need several roles. You need the guy who knows what he is working on. Then you need IT, who is doing the continuous integration. Then you need a data scientist, a statistics person who is doing the algorithm. Then you have to bring it back. You have to get the feedback. So big data, implementing big data is a long-term process, and it's a creative process because people have to learn to each other, and it's more a duration work than that you can say now, okay, I know what to do and I implement it in short time, so to say. And this is important because you have, let's say, when you implement big data, you have a feedback to your process. You do something in the process, you optimize it, you get a feedback. You do something in the process, you optimize it, get a feedback. And this is also the reason why you have, let's say, as a consultant or as a coach, you have to have a neck. Mm-hmm. Because changing a process is hard work
Very
in the
difficult.
company.
In any way. For me, it's a creative process to listen to all of you because I learn a lot in such a day. And I thank you very much, Mr. Winkler,
Thank you.
that you contributed to this event. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you.
Well, I suggest we take a short breath, we make a short pause, and then I meet up again with my colleague Klaus Paukowitz, who is also finishing his stream in a couple of minutes, I guess, or right now. And then we are going to do a little sum up about the whole day. We are going to say goodbye. And yeah, let's do that. Let's take a short breath. See you soon.